Welcome to the Sister Said podcast with Alicia and Kat. We are just two sisters ready to light it up, roll it, take our seats up on the couch, and let's get started as we navigate life, relationships, and much more.
What's up, fellow stoners? It's Kat here, riding solo again. So a lot of things. I'm just gonna give you a podcast update, because it's been wonky. We've been promising to release episodes and everything else, and it's just a lot that goes into this. So for those of you who are new here, and those that my fellow listeners come and have this session with me every Wednesday, I started this podcast in like the deepest, darkest depression of my life, and I reintroduced cannabis back into my life, and it was like a weird transitional period because I didn't have a healthy relationship with cannabis prior. I used it to like numb and like just mask emotions and not really cope with life. I just wanted to be a veggie on the couch, so that this time when I integrated cannabis back into my life, it was like more or less of a thing of, okay, I've got to get this started. I think that this is going to be beneficial for me. And why don't I just share it with the world? I needed a project, and this has been like a longevity project. And everything. Then I brought Alicia along with me, and she was like, "Fuck yeah, let's just do this. It's normal things." But like how life happens, your life blows up sometimes. People have other obligations and things to do. So I thought I was gonna be the best little podcast girly that I could be, and line up guests. Well, I realized that my time is more valuable. My time is valuable in the sense of I don't have that much time in the world. Well, for most of us creatives, we work 9 to 5 jobs to support the creative projects that we want to do, the things that we want. So for me, being able to keep up this longevity of this podcast and the growth that it's had, sometimes you can't keep up with the momentum of it. Hence, we blew up. Our sesh blew up. And so now I'm here, little of me, picking up the pieces, and I'm just glad that you guys are still sticking with me. Because it's a big transitional period for us and the podcast. We don't know where it's going to go. We don't know where or what is in store for us. I had a bunch of guests lined up that all fall shit in a handbasket. So we'll figure things out. We'll figure life out, and we'll figure out if this is something that we're willing to do and keep longevity over. So that's a little pod update. So let's get lit. Let's get a little stoned here. And let's set the ambience of the mood and everything else. And let's get started. So let's dive into the little topic of this episode, and it really goes into the exploitation of holistic medicine, plant medicine, everything what we're all about. So I've noticed, and a lot of more articles, even in High Times, has come out that microdosing in mushroom medicine is on the rise, and I feel that like people misunderstood the actual healing properties and like things of the mushrooms. And so like I have followed a lot of other creators and spiritual mushroom girlies that really dive deep into like you spiritually, who you are, like is your inner well-being, and like how microdosing and mushrooms can really open that up for you in a way that is like totally like mind-boggling. So what I've shared in a previous episode, I've done one ayahuasca retreat in my whole existence, and I maybe was like 19, 20 at the time. And for me, it was like, I just was like, all right, whatever. I was already an addict. So in order to do this retreat, I had to, and it was microdose too, the dosage. I had to sober up. So I went and sobered up for 3 weeks so I can go to this retreat with my friends. And we all went up on a mountain and we stayed there for a week. And like I told you, you're just naked and one with the world. I'm seriously, it was the first time in my whole existence that I was truly, utterly comfortable and at peace and confident and loved within my body. And that is like sweet serenity. Like, not a lot of people get to experience that, especially for me as a plus size woman. I'm like bigger. I'm very insecure about my looks and, things and weight gain and things. I mean, that goes into other things in my childhood and other things that, like, it's just ingrained in you in some way. So for, to take that microdose and to be like really like in deep and in tune with who I am, it was like the first time. And it was scary because if you are an avid avoidance, if you have an avoidance attachment style where you're just like really lovey, and then when somebody does something, you just push them far, far away. It's really, really hard for you to really know who you are and really, really figure out what you want as a person, as a being, like your essence of your soul, like everything. And that was so scary for me to experience because for the first time, I was one and in tune and in love with my body and in myself. So I highly recommend 10 out of 10 if you have ever truly like wanted to. And a lot of the things now with the laws being changed is that the mushrooms are being more introduced into society and more recognized now into society, that we can truly change the way we introduce this type of plant medicine. I've seen one creator on TikTok, and I've followed her like whole microdosing journey, and it was just beautiful for her to see the difference in like no, a couple of days without it, and then a couple of days where she's like, no, I'm cool. I feel so loved and at peace and serenity with myself. It's an awakening in your mind that you see things so vividly and clear. And I'm very glad that like we're pivoting to that point where we're just like, all right, mushroom medicine is the thing. And everyone in between just really brings that to the table. So if you are a mushroom girly, please tag me on Instagram because I really want to know like you guys' stories and how like that really has impacted you and everything else, because like we're diving into a whole era of holistic medicine where like Western medicine is not it anymore, where we're going back to our roots, we're going back to the things that actually mattered. We didn't cure things back then with like penicillin and shit that we have now. Now like we went back to herbalists, and like that was an actual job that was highly respected in cultures and society. And now it's just like, what kind of hoopla is this? Like you can literally heal your body back with herbs and food. I've seen it. I've seen stories of it and things like that. Like if we really get back to our roots as a society, it was like, okay, we need to just get back to being spiritually one with ourselves. Because I don't know, self-discovery is like one of those things that I feel that is most common theme when you take a lot more holistical approaches, because then you're more in tune with your body. Your body literally can communicate with you if you are willing and utterly like capable of taking the patience and the time to listen. Your body will let you know, hey, I don't like what you're putting in me, this is shit. And then there are other reasons too that you could be more in tune. So like self-discovery comes along with that mushroom journey, and you realize that people ain't shit as they used to be. You realize that people aren't really going to be there in the long term. So there is a new article out that studies suggest that there are more evidence of that psychopin, which is the mind-altering ingredient in magic mushrooms, has more effective in treating those who suffer with depression, along with elevated timing and consumption that are safe in multiple micro doses for major depression. That is huge. Like for me, who has schizoaffective disorder and who has multiple mood disorders, along with like a deep line of depression, like that would be a considering factor in treatment for me. But I know that like my dosage and my regimen of cannabis is working for me, but that would also be an ultimate treatment for me to explore, because for me, it more comes down to of like what is going to make me more in tune with myself. For someone who struggles with depression and self-worth, like you don't want to get out of bed. You don't even want to exist. You just want to just like, you yearn to feel nothing at all. You go to the world's deepest, darkest place within yourself. And for, you being elevated in that sense, a 25 milligram dose was as tolerated and held a promise to treatment for major depressional disorders with the combined with psychological support. The author of the study wrote. So if you are in like high instances of therapy along with using this plant medicine, then you will be willing and able to manage those depressive symptoms. The Psychobin shows promises as treating major depressive disorders associated with the Marshall Arps depressional scale. So like if you've been admitted to a psych ward or like a mental hospital, or even going to your psychologist, that is like the grading scale that they use to determine like the level of depression that you have. So like 1 or 2 is like, okay, mild, like seasonal depression, like 3 to 5 is like cool, like that's like normal deep dark depression, and then like the higher up you go is like suicidal, like oh my god, you just don't want to be here anymore. And they realized that the magic mushroom plants have really received more substance, so more patients are receiving psychobins as a sustained response than receiving the narcan, which is like a counteractive of it. The treatment is associated with higher rates overall of adverse like events, and so like it's been able to treat like the high end of the depression. Like I'm deeply suicidal. I don't want to do this. I don't want to live my life anymore. To like, oh my God, zen and one with myself. Or you're able to like take those layers off and really like dive deep into what made you depressed. It's like I said, like mushroom medicine is like more of like a eye-opening thing for you. These findings added to the increased evidence with psychological support. So basically, if you use mushroom medicine to cure depression, it's something you do when your psychologist sit down and talk about. I am not a medical professional. I just want to clarify this from my understanding. I'm not a medical professional. That you mix these two treatments, therapy is like one of the crucial aspects into using this. So therapy together, along with mushroom medicine, can really dive deep and help you with your depression. So I really think that that's swell, and like overall things like this, there's studies being done. The laws are changing. So I'm really excited for like this holistic approach that our society is kind of turning back into. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. I know it's a really short episode, but we are going to do the best we can with what we got. So look forward to keep an eye out for the Instagram, and you can follow us at This Is Such Podcast on Instagram, and make sure that you find us in all streaming podcast platforms. So we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and really like dive deep. Like send us I'm gonna put a poll up on our Instagram stories and really let us know, like, who do you want to see, who do you want us to talk to. Like I'm really deep diving into like, okay, I want to talk to parents and and people have used holistic and cannabis plant medicine to really like heal those ailments, cancer survivors. I want to know who I want to interview like the leading entrepreneurs and things. The cannabis industry is run predominantly by women, so like I want to talk to those kind of entrepreneurs. So just like let us know. But thank you for joining the sesh, and don't forget to get lit and have a wonderful day. Stay stoned.